It's lights out and away we go!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the GT UK F1 podcast. I'm joined by David.
Hello, everyone. Hello. I would say from Mexico, but I don't want you to think we are there. We haven't quite got to that level yet.
Oh, yeah. So...
Season rattles on close to the end. Well, we're now 4 races from the end.
Four?
Or 5 if you include the one we're about to talk about.
Well, yeah. Well, 4 with 2 sprints. That's it.
But yeah, the season drawing ever closer to the end of a season which is getting tighter and tighter. I'm sure we'll come on to that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously... I don't know... Obviously, I know you probably didn't see practices.
I caught little clips of practice sessions. Namely, I think Russell binned it at one point.
Yep.
And so was the Albon trip over Behrman.
Yeah.
Which actually, I don't think that. By the looks of it, Albon's car had a bit of oversteer, and encountering that, he unfortunately countered it into Behrman.
He was basically, the car just snaked down and bang straight into Behrman.
Yeah, it wasn't really his fault.
No.
It wasn't there. But either way, the end result was an accident. Like I say, Russell managed to put it in a wall for the second week in a row.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it was Leclerc's car that got damaged. It wasn't Sainz's car; it was Leclerc's car that got damaged.
Oh, was
With
Behrman in a Ferrari?
Behrman.
I thought it was in a Haas.
No, Behrman was in.
He's in the Ferrari. Okay,
Was
my bad.
in.
As I say, I saw clips and Facebook
Yeah.
stuff. I didn't actually see.
No, Behrman was in.
Saying that,
Leclerc's
do you not hear all
Ferrari.
the talk that Russell, because of all his actions, he's basically running a Silverstone spec car at the moment?
Yeah, he was running the Silverstone spec setup.
Because unfortunately, he's not got enough spare parts for the amount he's bent in the last 2 races.
But what was interesting that Silverstone spec, and we'll come on to it.
Was quicker than the Mexico spec.
Yes. It was like, right, okay.
I remember it was a good few years ago now. I think it was Raikkonen in a Ferrari. And he managed to knock the end plate off the front wing and start going about a second a lap faster. And you had visions of all the F1, of all the Ferrari mechanics going around kicking the end plates off the wings, you know.
Yeah.
Clearly don't need that bit.
Yeah, it was Albon and Oliver Behrman in the Ferrari, because it was laps. They only got 7 laps done. I mean...
Also, at this part, because he's not really a racing, but congratulations to Fernando Alonso on his 400th race weekend.
Yeah.
I
I liked his helmet.
Do
No,
I still have that sound quote? Shit, my soundboard ain't working.
good.
That'll be one for the next race. Yeah, it was actually really the same, but also, and one thing I was reading actually today, 4 drivers on the grid weren't alive when he did his race debut.
Really? 4?
Colapinto,
Obviously.
Piastri, Behrman, and Lawson.
Oh, right. Okay.
And some of the statistics were, and this is totally, I just found it amazing. His first season, Jean Alesi was still on the grid.
Jeez.
Now, if you're a fairly new fan to F1, that name might not mean a lot, but to those of us who are old as time, that is
Yeah.
that is a throwback to the mid-90s. And the statistic I read, and I cannot quantify it, I can't back this up, but apparently Fernando Alonso has raced against 15% of all F1 drivers. There's been something like 670 F1 drivers since 1950. And he has raced against 15% of them. I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about how the older guys shouldn't see hog, and there's arguments both ways, but to get to that number and to still be on a fairly competitive level, give him a car that's capable,
Yeah.
and there's still some performance there, I think has to be applauded.
Oh, yeah. It's just...
You know,
it's crazy to think. Yes, we know that Alonso's had a gap year.
It was
Oh.
more than a year one. It was a 2 or 3. I thought it
Year,
was
a couple.
of years he had off.
But he's still got the drive.
Well, they say when
In
he's not
him.
F1 racing, he runs a kart track in Spain, doesn't he?
Not entirely sure, to be honest.
I'm sure somewhere that he like runs a karting centre out in Spain or something like that.
Yeah.
So when he's not in F1, he's literally out there racing karts and helping with all of that. But no, fair play to him. Like and we know we're going to win for next season. Sadly, it appears to be a bit of a thing because for his 200, 300, and 400 races, he DNF'd them all.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a not nice statistic, but I mean, 400 races.
It just seems weird that you look back to some of the old result, like some of the old driver championships. You know, you've got the likes of in 1993. You know, you've got like Prost, Senna, Hill, Michael Schumacher, bloody Riccardo Patrese, John Alesi, and then that in 1993, Martin Brundle came 7th.
Yeah.
You know, you got Gerhard Berger and bloody Johnny Herbert. Jeez, I miss Johnny Herbert.
Well,
I mean,
now does a lot. He does a lot of stewarding work, doesn't he? I think he was the driver steward this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like, isn't Derek Warwick part of? Was he?
Yeah,
Is he not part of the FIA? No.
I think so. Yeah.
Or is he a driver steward?
He's definitely some stewarding role, whether he's the driver or he's actually a full-blown FIA steward, but he's definitely got some position in.
Yeah, I just recognise the name. Obviously, I've heard like Brundle mention him, but it's just, yeah, it's a bit. I mean, my only my criticism this weekend was the fact that I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to be very unpopular for saying this, but Sky, you've just done a big no-no and upset me. Put it that way.
Why? What's this time?
Well, who do you think was back on commentary team?
Oh, Danica again.
Mm-hmm.
They just wheel her out for America now, don't they?
She was supposed to have been fucking binned.
Well, look.
Yeah,
they're not going to bin. She winds you up the way that the Hamilton fans go mental every time Rosberg turns up, and that's just funny.
But she should have been binned. She was supposed to have binned, and then she even come out herself. Oh, I'm giving up commentary, and then next minute she's fucking back. It's like, just yeah. Oh, it pissed me off because it's like, oh, the Reds meaning soft tires. It's like, look, you're on F1. You're not IndyCar. Get the fucking terminology right. Jesus Christ. But it pisses me off because it's like most of the Sky team get shit right at times. I mean, I like Bernie. I think she's great.
Oh yeah, I think she knows her stuff.
Well, she was an ex-engineer, which makes it even better.
Oh, yeah,
that was it. I did actually catch one of the practices. Obviously, going back to it a little bit. There was her, Karun, and it was her, Karun, Danica, and somebody else in commentary for, I think it was FP1, or it was one of the FP sessions. Or it could have... No, it was FP3, actually, sorry. I think, where she was there with Crofty and Karun. Oh, they were fucking winding her up. Something chronic.
Yeah, see, I didn't catch anything.
Oh, it was funny.
The thing is, the practice sessions, especially those ones, were quite late at night, weren't they?
Yeah.
Was that FP3 was like... Well, you're nocturnal anyway. It was like freaking 11 o'clock at night or something our time, wasn't it?
Yes.
So, yeah, I didn't...
Oh, one of them I did catch, and it was quite funny because they were winding her up.
Yeah, I actually ended up watching qualifying Sunday afternoon because I was...
It's... quality.
no.
Yeah, I mean, getting into quality was.
Well, obviously there was the big upsets, the big shocks
Hmm.
in
Perez,
quality one. Well, I would say Perez and Piastri.
Piastri.
That was Piastri had a 100% Q3 appearance record up until this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, Perez. Is it as much of a surprise? This is coming from the Perez fan in the building.
I know.
Sadly, he's made a little bit of a habit of this. Now, I thought in front of the Mexican crowd, he would have been
on it.
a little bit more on it, but I think it was FP3. Was it FP? No, it was FP2 that ended with the red, wasn't it? Q2, sorry.
Yeah.
Ended with the red after Yuki found a wall.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, as we know, Yuki's getting the driver test for Red Bull after the season ends. And yeah, it's so he took 2 years away, did Alonso, sorry.
I knew it was more than one.
He returned with Alpine in 2021, but it was 2 years away. But I was trying to find when Alonso actually started in F1.
Was it about 01, something like that? Must have been 01 or 02 to take 2 years out and be at 20 years in 2024. It's about 01, 02.
Well, he's not in the 01 driver lineup.
It was 2002 then.
Weird, he's not even in the 2002. This is the official results. When the hell did Fernando Alonso literally? You know what? Rather than looking for the results, I'm just gonna friggin' Google this.
Off to Wikipedia he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag not sponsored.
According to this, 2001. Before driving Renault in 2002, he was with Minardi.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm sure I heard Crofty say 2001 Minardi now thinking about it.
So why couldn't I see him?
Maybe he was under a ghost name. Spooky.
That's kind of weird because he's not even showing on the official driver table. That's odd. Yeah, I'm kind of confused about that because if he was driving... Yeah, 2001 Japanese Grand Prix.
But back to qualifying.
Yeah, that...
We'll do some more digging on this, folks. But yeah, obviously, a Sauber and Alpine outs.
Sauber,
He's quite normal.
Yeah, but it makes me wonder how Sauber just...
Given up for waiting for Audi to come in.
Up.
You can see it, can't you, the way things are. What I don't understand is, I'm guessing budget constraints are maybe the driving factor here. But Perez qualified 18th. Why didn't Red Bull pull that car up, brand new engine in the bugger?
Yeah.
Start from the pit lane. You'd have a brand new engine going into the last 4 races.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been that much further back, and also coming out of the pit lane sometimes means you can miss if there's a bit of a first corner kerfuffle,
Hmm.
because you're usually that bit further back. Now, like I say, all I can think of, maybe it's a budget constraint thing, but I personally, if I'd have been in Horner's shoes, I'd have been tempted.
Yeah.
Like I say, full new engine, gearbox, put everything in it. Cause you gain yourself about 60 places worth of penalty points.
Yeah. You
But
do.
obviously, they don't charge you all of them at once because they can't.
I mean, I was quite shocked at Carla Pinto not making Q2.
Yeah, he's been doing alright, and
And
it's a very weird circuit in Mexico, isn't it? Because
yeah,
due to the due to the
the
fact
altitude.
that it makes it a very, very, because they run almost Monza spec wings, if memory serves,
Yeah, but
because of the air pressure and because of that really long main straight. But obviously, it's not as quick as Monza.
well, they put a lot more cooling into the car as well.
Yeah, because less air. The car's also slightly down on power because there's less oxygen in the air.
Hmm.
But
it's I mean, fair play to Haas.
Haas had a weekend, I think, and I'll come on to that a little bit more during the race.
Yeah.
Because I actually threw my driver of the day vote to Kevin Magnussen.
I actually forgot to fucking vote.
Oh, I did.
Which is not like me.
Because he spent most of that race not a long way away from those Mercedes.
It's kind of weird because the Mercedes in qualifying were, well, yeah,
Well, yeah.
the usual top 5, top 6.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know what the Ferrari drivers have been given, but holy fucking Jesus.
Well, we've said it all season. Sainz is out there with nothing to lose, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sainz is out. Like they were talking during the commentary about team orders. I'm like, would Sainz listen to team orders if he was giving them now?
No. Would he? Fuck.
I know for a fact I wouldn't.
Did you see, and obviously going on just quickly, did you see any of the build up to the race?
I didn't, sadly, no. I jumped in about 10 minutes before the start.
When they were talking to Lando?
No, I'll tell you when I jumped in, literally, I think I just sat down when that message came through on Fallon saying, gutted no Mexican intro.
They didn't do the Mexican intro, but they did the Mexican intro for the starting grid.
Yeah, they did the like Lucha Libre thing, didn't they?
But Natalie, was it Natalie? Yeah, Natalie was talking to Lando. Sainz ran past him and punched him in the balls.
Oh, I think I saw a clip of that online. Yeah, the old Carl Lando tricks.
Yeah, it was just like, nice. They're still not, even though they're not different teams, they're still not forgetting the old bromance. Problem was they were a good driver lineup, them two.
The thing is, Sainz is one hell of a driver.
Yeah.
I think Brundle said it. I can agree. I think he's been overlooked a little bit for a long time.
But
not least by Ferrari, but
yeah, but have Ferrari made a mistake?
Mistake's the wrong word.
Do you think they've jumped the gun too early then, signing Hamilton over Sainz?
No.
Really?
And it's funny we were talking about this. Maybe I don't know this. How to word this? You have to take signing Hamilton as a purely business decision. Because how many fucking red t-shirts is that going to sell?
Yeah, quite a lot.
What I honestly believe, and because literally weeks before we got the Hamilton announcement, they announced Leclerc's contract extension. Now, if the Hamilton deal had to come first, because I reckon when Leclerc signed that contract extension, there'd been a lovely few £1 million buyout clause if either side wanted it to end early.
Yeah.
I reckon if that hadn't been on the table, if Leclerc and Sainz would have been on even standing, would it have been Sainz that would have gone? I honestly don't think so. But I think literally it would have cost them too much.
Yeah.
To drop Leclerc.
But
as somebody who isn't a Hamilton fan, I can fully see the business decision. The fans are going to love it. By God, from Hamilton's side, if he manages to win a race in a red car, he's going to be a god in Italy.
If he does at Monza, yeah.
Or if he does it anywhere, wins in a Ferrari, he's going to be one of them. And, and as I've said before, and it's weird to quantify, and this is going to do with isn't particularly a Ferrari fan.
He just needs to brush up on his Italian.
Somebody who isn't a Ferrari fan, I appreciate those red cars mean something more than just a car maker.
Ferrari have a hell of a history, though.
Oh, it's just there's something about the whole thing. As much as F1 is more, as much as no team is bigger than F1, F1 would be terrible. F1 would suffer badly if Ferrari left.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Watching those Ferraris 1-2 Le Mans last year on the 100th anniversary was mental.
It's like watching the Ferrari Challenge as well. They usually show the Ferrari Challenge on Sky F1, and that's been quite good to watch. And
but the point I make is, from Hamilton's point of view, what's he got to lose? He's probably picking up a nice fat paycheck.
Yeah.
He's actually said in the past he always was interested in driving for Ferrari, which I think anybody who goes into F1.
Yes, but he turned it down.
Because at the time, it probably didn't make sense when Merck were winning everything.
And now, and then Merck weren't, and then he jumped ship.
Let's put it this way. Hamilton realistically probably doesn't have more than a couple more seasons, even unless he goes and does an Alonso. Now, it's not looking like Merck are going to give him a championship-winning car in the next 2 years. So, give Ferrari a go. He probably won't win a championship with Ferrari, but he'll get to drive the Ferrari.
He'll have done his dream. And I mean, if I'm remembering this correctly, I've just got to remember this quickly and remember it correctly. It's something to do with how the Prancing Horse logo actually came about.
No, that's not something I can help you with.
I believe that it was an image. It was to do with one of the owners at the time.
That would have been Enzo.
No, I don't think it was Enzo.
Because it was Enzo and his wife.
Right. Do me a quick favour.
Go ahead.
Keep qualifying discussion rolling.
He's off to check something, right? Well,
I'm off to check something.
So Q1, they say Piastri was a big loss. I think he was a lap time delete. Perez, I don't know why they didn't do the engine thing. All I can think is maybe budget constraints at the end of the year. But I just stuck a full brand new set of engine components in it, gone to the race with full power.
Yeah.
Q2 sadly cut short because Yuki found a wall. Just purely overcooked it into turn 10, I believe it is by number. The one that Alan absolutely murdered me at this year. And yes, I remember that.
What, before the stadium?
Yeah, you remember that one?
Yep.
Alan absolutely murdered me at that corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yuki found that wall.
Yeah.
There was only about, I think it was like 11 seconds left on the clock, so quite obviously it just... So I think there was a couple of guys, Fernando probably one of them, if I remember right. I think Lawson were both on laps that looked like they might have got them into Q3.
Yeah.
But that's the look of the draw. Now Q3, Lawson 12th, not bad. Both Hasses in Q3 again. I believe the second race in a row. I get they're on American soil. Well, Mexico. Well, they're in this American continent,
mm,
and maybe there's a bit of showing off to the home crowd there, but fair play to them. Albon again into the top 10. We'll come on to him in the race because sadly it didn't do him a lot of favours, but
Leclerc just got outshone.
oh yeah, Sainz has this. I mean, Sainz has done this a couple of times this year. Like I say, like the discussion that started, it was, if Ferrari had have had the opportunity to keep Sainz, and that's all I can get. Obviously, I've nothing to back this up evidence-wise, other than an understanding of how these content negotiations tend to go. Because every driver out there who's got a contract, no matter how long, will have a buyout clause in it.
Oh yeah.
And it'll be either side can end that contract early, but with a penalty. And in F1 terms, we will be talking millions.
Oh yeah.
Now, I honestly think that is what kept Leclerc his seat.
Yeah.
Because Leclerc's Ferrari through and through. The guy's like a stick of rock. He loves the team. He loves everything about it.
But even with that, the only way that Leclerc got into that originally because of who his godfather is. Jules Bianchi.
Yeah, but it's. He managed to win Monaco this year, which was always an absolute dream of his. So anyway, have you got the information you needed?
So the prancing horse logo originated with the Italian World War.
Right.
A fighter pilot called Francesco Baracca. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, but my Italian is not great. He had a black prancing horse with its tail, down its tail. Basically, it just means a symbol of courage. The only reason how it became the Ferrari logo, because in 1923, Enzo Ferrari won a race, met the Francesco's parents, and she suggested that Ferrari added the prancing horse to the cars for good luck.
Right. But it's a true fact that Enzo Ferrari started off racing Alfa Romeos.
And the first
Alfa
version...
Romeos are actually an older...
The first version of the Ferrari logo appeared on the Ferrari Alfa Romeo in 1932.
You see, I don't talk bollocks all the time, just most of it.
Well, obviously...
No, it's true that you started off racing Alfa Romeos, and when you decided they weren't good enough... This is in the time and era where you could do that, which would be amazing. Imagine now this Peugeot you're ordering. You think to yourself, well, I don't like things, so you went out and built your own. I mean, okay, you've got to have had some kind of engineering background or something, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea... And like I said, and then Ferrari is what caused Lamborghini to start making cars.
Oh, yeah.
Because Lamborghini didn't like Ferrari's cars, and Enzo basically told him, you don't like it, go and do it yourself. So he did.
But
Italy for you folks, it's a mad place.
Yeah, not gonna lie. If Max hadn't have had one of his laps deleted, I think he'd have had pole.
It's possible, yeah. I think the lap looked very good, didn't it? The track limits.
Yeah, the lap before. I mean, don't get me started on the FIA rant yet. I haven't retrieved my salt box yet.
Oh no, folks! I hid it after the last podcast. Don't panic. I've burned that bastard just to make sure.
Yeah, Max was on a hell of a stunning lap, but then it got deleted, like we say. But
and then Carlos was just in a. Well, actually, I think Carlos's second run would still have beaten it.
Yeah.
If I remember right, that 1:15.9 he did at the end of Q3. I think certainly that lap time. I think actually both his lap times were still good enough for. Because at the end of qualifying, he went cracking lap, and he went, "Don't you mean 2 laps?"
Yeah.
So I think even the first one technically was good enough for.
Yeah. So obviously, let's move forward, shall we?
And then so we get to the start of the race.
Apart from obviously Ocon, the reason why Ocon started at the back on the why Ocon started in the pit lane was
They just changed the
Changed the-
settings on the car, didn't they?
no, they changed the battery. Basically, under part firmware, but obviously
It's classed as a component.
Yeah, they changed the battery into part firmware.
Because there's certain parts you are allowed to change. If you know there's a problem, and as long as you replace it for a like-for-like part,
Yeah.
there is certain parts. Well, I think you're allowed to change. If you can prove you've got a part that's a safety issue, you're allowed to change that under part firmware, as long as the part you fit is to the same spec
But
as the one you take off.
yeah, but by the sounding that it wasn't. So that's why he ended up pit laning it.
But like I say, if I'd have been Red Bull, I'd have done the same with Perez myself personally. But
Unfortunately, Perez got himself into trouble even before the lights had gone out.
oh yeah, and the trouble is when he showed you the onboard, he was miles. I mean, he got technically it was a false start. Now, did there not used to be a term? It was like was it like out of starting position? They must have dumped that term.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a false start, it was just the fact of the matter is he was about a foot too far forwards.
Yeah. But I don't understand. This is the thing. I don't understand Perez. I get it. The way that the drivers are sat, they won't be able to see these fucking lines, but
Well, they're supposed to be able to see that bright yellow line.
There's supposed to be marker boards, though.
There's marker boards, and they can see that. There's that yellow line that comes out that you're supposed to put the front wheel on.
Well,
and that stretches out a good distance to the side. And yeah, he was in front of that.
I was going
like,
to say, he was fucking well over that. And it's just like... I don't understand, because he didn't move before the lights had gone out. It was just... He was out of his grid... He was way over on his grid box.
Yeah, he was out of position.
So, yeah. So he was given... What? Given 5 seconds for that?
5 seconds. It was classed as a false start, which I'm guessing is just the rule they use to cover it these days.
Hmm.
Like I say, I'm sure there used to be an incorrect grid position or something like that penalty, but I'm guessing that's been
It's probably
superseded.
probably been changed and quashed and all sorts of shit, because everybody was getting mixed up with go to grid boxes when people aren't in. You know, if somebody higher up was starting from the pit lane, for example.
Well, they seem to have stopped that now, didn't they? Because now somebody starts from the pit lane, the rest. I think it was more if somebody broke down on the formation lap or something.
Yeah.
Because then you're supposed to leave their grid slot clear.
But yeah, that's. I still think really ideal in an ideal world you would just bunch rather than do that to stop the confusion, just bunch them forward.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and also because to be honest with you, if you're coming to the start and the guy in front of you doesn't take the grid slot, you actually gain a bit of an advantage because it means you've got nobody in front of you for double the distance.
Yeah.
Now, all right, the swings and roundabouts because you mean you're going to get slipstream, which somewhere like Mexico with that long start could mean a lot, but it still means you've one less person you got to pass.
Yeah. But why don't you just bunch the grid up, bunch them up?
Well, this is the same FIA that have got rid of the fastest lap point, which I can't understand. So you always expect logic from them.
Well, they haven't yet.
Well, no, for next season though.
2025 they have.
Which I don't get.
So, we go lights out.
So we go down to turn one.
Turn one.
Everyone at Great Speed, they went to turn one backwards.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, and I said to you before we started recording, I don't actually blame Yuki. I actually think, if anything, the incident was caused, if you want to call it that, by Pierre Gasly.
Yeah.
Yuki was coming up the outside of Albon. Gasly was on the inside of him. Poor Albon just got a bit of a squeeze.
Well, Albon was in the middle.
Yeah, he got squeezed. And it ripped the tyre clean off Yuki's car. And Yuki was backwards into the tyre wall.
And Albon couldn't steer.
When it
It-
broke the steering arm,
it-
you could
yeah.
when you turned the onboard, the front tires were facing each other.
Oh yeah, and when he turned, you could see there was no movement
Yeah,
from that.
It just snapped the
Yeah.
steering arm.
And
The weirder suspension components because they're really strong if you hit them in some directions and really brittle if you hit them in others.
yeah,
They can take all manner of punishment up and down, but they're not designed for like side-on impact,
no.
and they can be really. It
Take
depends sometimes. We're saying that, then again, the other year we saw Alonso basically doing a wheelie down the back straight to Austin and survived it. So
yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah,
I don't know if you're either going to agree with me or you're going to disagree with me here.
why would I do something silly like agree with you? But go on.
Do you think it took them too long to deploy the safety car?
Probably the straight answer is yes. I mean, I actually think the safety car was more because of where Albon's car finished and because of Yuki's, to be honest with you.
Well, it's because of and because of the fact that they had to literally get stuff on people on track and sweep debris and
Yeah. I think the debris was the other thing. I think they probably could have got Yuki's car out under waved yellows
doubles.
because it was far enough off the track and it was right by a service road.
But it was Albon's, I think.
It was Albon letting, as you say, and then when they realised how much debris there was going down into turn one, which bear in mind the speed cars are going into turn one, the last thing you want is somebody picking up a sudden tyre delamination.
Well, that's what Martin was saying. You know, they'd have to get rid of the debris because if he said if a car runs over that at like 200 odd, whatever.
219 miles an hour, I think, was the fastest speed I saw recorded on the weekend.
Well, whatever speed, and it shreds the tyre.
Yeah, the guy's having a gigantic accident.
Yeah. And yeah, it just they seemed they were quick to dish, quick for the stewards to dish penalties out and all this lot. Which I'm not going to argue with that.
Oh, should we get on to the penalties? Because there's some interesting ones to go through.
But yet again, they were a little bit slow with bringing that safety car out.
I actually, as much as I hate the fact I'm saying it, I actually think I agree with you.
I'm sorry, but that safety because of where Albon was, and Yuki's car and stuff, they literally and the debris, but they should have had that as soon as they knew where Albon was, which clearly they have a lot more cameras, they can see a lot
they have trackers.
more.
The cars all have GPS trackers on, so they know exactly where every car is at any given point.
If things work properly, of course, because apparently stuff hadn't been working properly because I think it was going back quickly to qualifying was the tyres that were said that.
Oh yeah, they were having issues with it showing which tyres they were on, weren't they?
That's what I mean.
But they said the Sky they said it's the Sky use the exact same system that they do, so if they can't see it, it means the teams couldn't see it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if something had slightly gone awry there, then maybe, but I still think there was two cars there was debris, if it would have been me that had been in charge, it'd have been right, safety car out straight away.
But still, let's give him credit. I'd rather a safety car than a red flag.
Yeah.
I think the safety car was the right call at that point.
Yeah. A red flag. Too early.
I think a red flag would have been too much.
Yeah.
But it's funny, after not seeing Mylander for like 9 races on the trot, he's definitely making sure he gets a paycheck for the end of the year, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, when was the last safety car?
Last race, America.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we had
Well, then
one
before
last
that, it was like Canada or something like that.
Not China. No.
No, I'm pretty sure Canada was the last one before that. It was like 8 or 9 races. It was mental.
No. So. Yeah.
So after the safety car, things got a little interesting.
A little interesting? Jeez. I mean, talk about regardless of whether people say it was hard racing or not.
No, I'm very
To be
interested
honest,
to hear your, because you are both a McLaren and Red Bull fan.
yeah.
So your opinion on this, I'm going to find very interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. I mean, I have my opinions as a sort of, I consider myself more of a neutral to this. Because my allegiances don't really lie with either of those two
Yeah, but
teams.
I kind of I was expecting this, to be honest.
So go on then.
Give me some questions. Would be the better way to start with.
So, right, so obviously for those, Max got given 2 separate penalties for 2, shall we say, aggressive defences. Now, if we take them as individuals, the first one being into what we class as turn 3, 4, which I actually think was the slightly less bad of the 2. I mean, yeah, Max ran him right out to the white line, which was everybody was doing that. I think the natural angle of that corner takes you quite wide anyway.
It does.
But your thoughts on that? Was he fair? Should you have given Lando more space?
Personally, if it was me, I would have tried to give more space. Honestly, I think Max should have given a little bit more room.
And then the second incident, I honestly think was totally just. I think Max should have had more serious punishment than he's had for it. I think he blatantly ran Lando off the road.
Now,
honestly,
I would say yes. I mean, even going back to Quarter,
I don't think the Kota was as bad.
No, it wasn't. But
the way he did it, the way they both ended up wide, which handed the Ferraris an absolute.
Leclerc straight through, yeah.
Nearly got the Mercs through, and like I say, going back to what I was saying earlier, even the Haas was standing right there.
But the thing is, these two are battling out for the championship. These two, and the problem is, even Norris's comments was saying, I'm not at Max's level. And it's like, yes, you're not at Max's level. You'll get there. But pick your battles at the right time.
I would agree, but I actually don't. I would think, if anything, though, what could Lando have done in that second incident?
Fuck all.
Yeah, it's...
The problem is, Max... I'm gonna say it. Max is feeling the pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Max,
he's in a position he's not been in since he joined Red Bull.
No. Max is feeling the pressure because I agree with what Brundle said. That was dangerous, and it was.
Yeah, 100%.
We're not seeing the Max of previous years.
Max ended up with 20 seconds of penalties. Can I also give a second shout out to whoever at Sky made the sign saying he had a penalty into like a mugshot with the lines at the back of it? That was absolutely class.
When was that?
Oh, there's that. Basically, when they went to the it showed you, they show like the driver's face at the bottom at times with various information.
Yeah.
They did one of Verstappen and he said outstanding penalty, 20 seconds. But literally, they made it look like he was stood in front of one of them line boards that the American police use.
Did it?
Yeah.
Let's see if you can find it.
I'll find a picture and send it to you. Because it was just well done. But it was like somebody at design department
and to
did
do it
that, and obviously had the laugh of that.
but to do it quick.
Well, I often say because they must have some of these things. There's got to be somebody out there has to have made a sign saying Kevin Magnussen race winner,
Yeah.
because there's that 1 in a bazillion chance it might happen. So somebody's going to have to have made that.
Hmm. And it's I mean, the 20 seconds of penalty, kind of banged to rights, to be honest. And obviously,
And he got updated later after the race. He also took 2 penalty points on his license.
he'd been taking two penalty points on the license, which is fair dues. I mean, he's got 6 left. He's got 6 left before he faces a race ban. The rivalry, shall we say, between Max and Lando is going to continue for the rest of the season. It's going to be spicy. And
I still think, because at this point, Lando needs something like 12 points per race more. I still think that's asking a hell of a lot.
If Lando stops being a whingy bitch, just gets his fucking head in the game, he can do it.
Well, this weekend kind of showed Max had a terrible one.
Yeah, Max had a terrible one.
Still brought home not bad points.
No. But, like I say, Lando stops being a whiny little bitch at this moment and just gets his head in the game. Properly. I mean, Oscar was way down. You don't hear fuck all from Oscar half the time.
Yeah.
He just gets on with it. Like I said, yes, Lando's second in the drivers. He needs to just get his head in the game. Really does. If he wants to even think about winning this championship this year, doing the double, then Oscar needs to stop making silly little mistakes at times. Not always, but Mexico, there was a couple of silly mistakes. Lando just needs to stop whining and just fucking get on with it. Because Ferrari are closing in.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. Ferrari
could take the constructor still. It's there.
Mathematically possible. Mathematically possible for Ferrari to take that constructors. So both the McLaren boys need to get their head in the game. Max needs to just step back and sort his head out. Perez needs to step his game up if he wants to keep that seat. Because
definitely, I honestly thought Mexico would have been where he would have done it.
Yeah, I know.
I would have thought Mexico would have been the place where he would have put on a performance.
Because I mean, it was Max last year. Oh, he did? Yeah, shit, no. Fucking hell. Forgot about that. Well, Alonso went out last year and Perez went out last year. I remember that because it was an incident between Perez and Leclerc. Who took Perez out last year?
Last year, Perez nearly took Max out of the first corner, if I remember right, didn't he?
Well, Perez only didn't even do a lap. What was the starting grid for last year? Leclerc, Sainz. Wow, that's an omen. The other way around. And Max was third, Ricciardo was fourth, and Perez was fifth last year. Like, starting grid. That was wow. Max won Mexico in. He did as well. Max won Mexico in 2022. Perez finished third.
Hmm.
Has Perez never won? Did Perez ever win Mexico? Or was that 2020?
No, he hasn't. Third's his best ever finish. He got the podium.
Yeah, and third in 2021 as well.
That's his best finish there. I know that.
And obviously 2020 didn't go near Mexico. Because the calendar was to shit because of
Yeah, COVID.
COVID. Because 2019, it was Hamilton that won. Get this, Hamilton, Vettel in the Ferrari, and Bottas. And where was Red Bull? 6.
None. 6.
5th and 6th. With Albon finishing ahead of Max.
Yeah.
And Perez at that point was in Racing Point.
Yeah.
Christ. So yeah, Perez has been around for a while, but Perez just needs to step the fuck up.
Can you remember? I think we did this maybe last year or the year before, where we looked back at like the 2005 grid for a race.
Yeah.
And Perez was on it, I seem to remember.
2005.
It's been like his first year.
We'll get that. We'll get this. China used to be China in 2005 was the last race.
Yeah, before Abu Dhabi went and paid a load of money to be the final race.
And Alonso won China in a Renault.
Aye. Renault, who are pulling out at the end of this year.
Yeah, and Toyota are coming in.
Yep.
No, Perez wasn't 2005.
It was somewhere around there, 5 seasons like that. No, anyway, we're doing our usual trick here.
I know we are doing our usual trick here. But yeah, I just Alonso had a good year in 2006, put it that way.
And then the next bit of interest, once again, was poor Perez, but this time was Liam Lawson giving him a bit of a duffing up.
Apparently, Lawson was pissed. Liam Lawson ended an eventful weekend in Mexico with 0 points and damaged car after some intense on-track battles, including a particularly heated exchange with his Red Bull colleague Sergio Perez.
Yeah.
And basically, he was battling for P10. And apparently Perez forced him off.
Well, he kind of did, didn't he? Perez ended up with a bit of side pod damage and a bit of...
Yeah.
You saw carbon fibre fly, and then, like I say, it was kind of...
But apparently...
definitely robust.
Yeah. And Lawson basically concluded later on that Perez was obviously upset following a short chat with him. Basically, these were...
I bet you one thing. I bet you left the circuit in a mask.
Wasn't it? Was it Crofty or Martin that said he better leave the track in a balaclava?
Yeah. Well, if you look at all the pictures I've just sent you, actually sums that up quite nicely.
So, this is what Liam said. I don't know where he wanted to go. I gave him space at turn 4. He came in super late at that point of the race. We had just got some clean air, and honestly, our pace wasn't so bad. So I'm not just going to get out of his way. I gave him space. He drove me off and then didn't give me space in turn 5. I was on the lock. The lock stopped trying to turn the corner and avoid a collision, but I had nowhere to go. It's it's frustrating. It wasn't my intention.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mind hearing from some of the, the newer people in F1. But they've still got to be they've got to be careful what they say. Because, like I say, I bet he would have had to wear a disguise to get out of there because, in case he got lynched.
You don't want to go upsetting your favourite man, Dr. Marco.
Don't even start. You know about the Pirates of the Caribbean thing? Yeah.
Yeah. And then below it was the other one I was on about.
That was shown live.
That was, yeah, because I saw it on the TV myself at the time. That's
I
how they showed
missed
it on the
that.
TV. That is how they showed it on the TV.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, somebody in Sky's
Oh.
graphics department deserves a pat on the back and a pint for that one.
Yeah, that's brilliant. But yeah, the race was good. I mean, there was
It's good. Great if you're a Ferrari driver, apart from that one moment where I'm sure Charles Leclerc needed a clean pair of underpants.
holy shit, did Leclerc get very lucky. But what?
Hell of a save.
Yeah, but Norris, I would have expected even Norris to back out or move to the right slightly.
And he didn't, he just kept it planted,
just-
didn't it?
Kept it pinned and just went, yeah, see ya. Fucking hell.
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ.
And that
He was
was,
suddenly having to fully steer towards a wall at a very high rate of speed.
it'd be over 100 mile an hour at least.
Oh yeah, because the car was already accelerating out of the corner.
Aren't you... You're kind of glad they've got the reaction. That could have been nasty. If he'd have hit that wall,
Oh yeah, that'd have been a major incident. That'd have been another safety car, probably a yellow,
that'd have
not
been,
red.
I think that'd have been a red flag.
It'd have been
Because
serious, but
yeah.
yeah, it was definitely save of the day.
cause he'd have hit that wall, bounced across the track, no doubt about it. I mean, he might have even taken fucking Norris with him.
Yeah, and that would have given the championship a very different dynamic.
Yeah, it would.
But strong weekend. Say a strong weekend for Ferrari. You got to give him credit there.
Look at Merck as well.
Oh, they spent most of the race battling each other, which was quite entertaining to watch.
And yeah, and then Hamilton eventually got George.
Yeah, but Russell was running an older spec car because of the damage he sustained last two races. Then had front wing damage from a collision. 'Cause if you ever saw the shots, half
Yeah.
of his front wing just wasn't working. So it's no surprise that Hamilton got him. I'm actually surprised it took him as long as he did, obviously, even with the front wing not working.
But the problem was the Silverstone spec cars
We're almost quicker than the
was almost
Mexico spec.
yeah. I mean, I'm fair play to Oscar to get back into the points.
Yeah, Oscar, and as I said, I think I said earlier, I said before, my driver of the day vote went to Kevin Magnussen.
I was about to say fair play to Haas.
Because they were right there
Yeah,
behind the Mercs, pretty much all race.
yeah. I mean, Gasly picked up the last point. Gasly picked the last point up. And we
Phil
obviously...
Alonso, as we said.
Alonso, was it an overheating issue?
Yeah, it was heating. They were struggling to cool the car and retired. As we alluded to, we were talking earlier, sadly
Yeah.
didn't finish his 400th race start.
Now, looking at I'm just having a quick look at the constructors. Because unfortunately, guys, we're not going to be able to give you any F1 fantasy results this episode of the podcast because it's currently undergoing maintenance and it's still not
It's
working.
down for maintenance, so we can't see. We'll have to give you a double dose after.
Yeah, we'll give you a double
Dose after Brazil.
after Brazil.
Unfortunately, it's not something we can really deal with. It's
No.
obviously F1 side.
But yeah, I
It's
mean,
only showing just how much more Ryan's eating into my lead anyway, so I'm not that worried. And I don't actually know because I didn't actually look
We
before.
No, I didn't. I have not seen any of the results. So like I say, come Brazil, we'll do a doubler.
Yeah.
I'll go to Brazil first, so then I don't see how shockingly shit my weekend's probably gonna be at Brazil. I mean, yeah. Shit, I got 2 time on max as well.
I think I have
Balls.
as well. Now, I don't know what the penalties will do to me, because if those penalties add quite a few negative points, we could be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to look until after.
No, I'm
Brazil.
not anyway.
But looking
So,
at, like I said, looking at constructors, Williams is he's like a 17 points, you know, in total. Alpine are now 14 points. Alpine could overtake Williams.
But it's near the top where things are more interesting, where mathematically Ferrari still have a chance.
Remember,
I mean, we're in a weird position now where Red Bull are third, even though they've still got the winning driver.
Yeah, their constructors has taken damage because of Ferrari's double.
Well, it's double, isn't it?
Well, that's what I mean. The doubles. I say that.
Now you can't. Double.
I knew you were going to do it.
Now that if you have the 6 pints, it might be done differently. That's a fruit juice, of course, for all you kids out there.
What are they? 30. 35? They're 35 behind.
Something like that, yeah. It is not a lot.
Well, McLaren are 566. Ferrari are 537. So, got to be 30.
29, didn't you that?
Eh?
29, didn't you that?
I have no.
Apologies.
You're better at me at maths than I am.
What playing darts does for you, mate. You learn to subtract quickly. So, what was it? What was McLaren's score?
566.
566, and Ferrari's
537.
So yeah, it's 29 points. So if it was 537, 567, it'd be 30, wouldn't it?
Yeah. All right then. So that's basically one of their drivers on a race win.
That's basically if they can because a 1-2, assuming a 1-2 and the fastest lap gets you what, 26 and 18.
Yeah.
36, 44 points, 46 points.
It all depends on where McLaren.
That technically could be done in one race. If Ferrari 1-2 and McLaren don't score, they've got it.
Oh yeah. That's what I mean. But can you see McLaren not scoring, considering McLaren both scored points?
That's what I've said to you. I've said about Max losing the championship. I just can't see.
I can.
Lando needs like a 12 points over him every race for the last 4.
Yeah, but I can see it. With the sprints included, it is a big possibility for Lando to do it. I mean, this is weird.
It's possible. I'm not arguing it's possible.
No, but it is weird because in my brain it's like, yes, I want Max to win, but it's like, no. My other half of my brain is like, come on, fucking Lando, you can do it. You know, my brain is battling each other because I like both teams.
Honestly, given the choice, I'd like to see because he's Lando's first, isn't it?
Personally, I would.
And also the fact that he's a British driver probably plays a part in my brain as well.
Racist.
Well, you know, like see Brits do well.
To be honest.
No, I'm not racist, folks. I hate everybody in equal measure.
I'm surprised he's put up with me for long enough, to be honest, guys, but hey ho.
No am I, don't worry. It's not for the pay, trust me.
Can Red Bull come back?
Yes.
I'm going to say no.
Of course they can. Will
They
they?
can.
It's a different question.
They can, but I'm going to say no on that because of Perez's performance.
That's it. Because it was Max. Like I say, I can't see Max DNFing unless it's not his fault.
I mean, he was reporting engine problems. But they swapped that out into
Yeah.
one out of the pool, didn't they?
Yeah, I can't see him. I can't see him not scoring well unless something goes majorly wrong. That's the thing. No matter what happens, like I said, this race, to any other driver, a 20-second penalty would have meant you're finishing pretty much last.
Yeah, but he didn't serve 20 seconds.
He did.
Did he?
He did, yeah.
Did he serve the full?
Because if you notice, it was like a 24-second pit stop. Because the funny thing is, when they do like 20 seconds, they always end up doing slightly more because they're also shit scared of touching the car too fast.
But okay, that's really weird then. Whether that's my mind going into game logic, because I always thought if we had 20 seconds of penalties, we're only going to serve 10.
Yeah, well, the game, you're right. The game, you're 100% right, but the luckily, there doesn't always run in like the game doesn't have the ability. The game doesn't have the ability to logic things like real life can.
Yeah.
Funny, I said about that at the time to my dad. I said about how in the game you wouldn't serve 20 seconds at once.
No, because that's what confused me. Because that's why I didn't see the. Unfortunately, I missed the fucking pit stop time, so I wouldn't. If I'd have seen the pit stop time, then I'd have known. But
yeah, the pit stop time was like 24 seconds.
So right, okay, so he did serve that penalty. Interesting. Yeah, because they went 20. Yeah, because they've been screwed over touching the car. See now.
Yeah, because there was a few times where
now the thing that I disagree with is if they are running at that high altitude, surely they should be allowed to get a fan in on it if they're serving that length of penalty.
They did.
They didn't though. It wasn't on. It wasn't on the car.
No, they didn't touch, but they were holding it into the air vent.
Yeah, but oh yeah, because of course, if you put it in the car, then obviously
you've classed as touching the car. Yeah, they put it. They obviously it was doing what it needed to do, basically.
But it just seems weird how the fact that why didn't they just put it in the car, but then at the end of the day they can't because it was classed as touching the car.
Yeah, any touch in the car voids.
But under safety grounds, you think that would have been allowed?
I think they had the rules set. Can you remember, what was it? It was this year, wasn't it, where that penalty didn't count because one of the mechanics just literally grabbed the car to steady it. And that class as a touch and basically voided the penalty stop.
Yeah.
I want to say it was an Alpine, but I could be wrong on that.
There was a car that got steadied. And one more side note, actually. Did you see the clip of the Ferrari mechanic?
Oh, we did like the roll and managed to style it out. He like fell over and managed to almost Willy Wonka roll it to standing back up, didn't he?
But backwards, but fuck me, that could have been. It could have been a lot worse.
Uh-huh.
If there'd have been a car coming down that pit lane.
Hey, dangerous life is that of a mechanic.
Yeah, but it was just the way you saw him go backwards and fucking. Fuck me.
Not something I'd be able to do.
No, but to start, because you saw one of the guys running at him. So, overall conclusion, what did you think of the race?
It was an exciting race, entertaining. Bit of a fastest lap went to Leclerc. I believe Sainz got driver of the day.
Did Leclerc get fastest lap?
Yes, Leclerc got it.
Yeah, Leclerc got it. Perez tried.
Perez tried and didn't get there. He got second, but was still almost a second down.
You'll know, if you want to know who driver of the day is, just do f1.com/vote. It was Sainz that got driver of the day.
I thought he was.
Yeah.
Like I say, I actually threw my vote to Magnussen because, like I say, I thought he put up a hell of a show, given that Haas there. But very good race. We're maybe seeing the end of the season, the crack starting to show, which I actually quite enjoy because it's nice to see that these aren't robots who never make mistakes.
A lot of them.
I think the driving standards may need to be looked at.
Problem is, who's head of the fucking drivers' association? Mr.
Is he
Woody
not still-
himself.
It's Russell, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe we need a few more of these 10-second penalties being handed out, because I think that's what will cure it.
Yeah, but
You need to make the drivers realise that there are consequences.
I heard Max didn't bite his tongue. I think Max was a little bit pissed and didn't bite his tongue.
Yeah, well, we've had that before, haven't we?
And I'm sorry, but I'm going to finish with this.
You know, you say no fantasy league, so
Yeah, we haven't got any fantasy league, unfortunately, for this one, so we'll do a double in Brazil. If the FIA don't like what's being said, about them by any of the any drivers, it's like, one, if you don't broadcast it to the world, and two, fine them. Give them a fine. And another finishing note, I sent you that thing on Messenger. I'm not sure if it's true or not. I don't know. For context to people, I'd read something somewhere that apparently Max and Kelly are expecting twins.
yeah, I have no content. I have no ability to confirm nor deny that.
Yeah, because we haven't actually seen. I mean, apparently she's only about 8 weeks, but you won't know. You won't know anything at this point. But I mean, if it is, fair play.
Congratulations.
Because I just wonder though if it is true. Could next year be Max's last?
If Red Bull don't give him a California Winning Championship, I could see it, because he's already started said in the past. I don't think he's not that bothered about being there for a long time.
He basically he would said that he would leave if he starts losing the passion for it.
And I think he'll struggle with the passion if he's not got a good chance of winning.
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, if he does leave at the end before Ford come in, Red Bull are in a quandrum, because who the hell are they going to get to replace? Because by that time they've probably booted Perez, so they're a bit fucked. Because you've got really nobody to put in that top two cars. In the top two car. Top two cars.
Yeah.
Unless...
Easy for you to say.
It's not. Because unless you put... I don't know.
I guess they've got to hope by that point the likes of Lawson are actually up to speed.
This is what I mean. Unless you put Yuki and Lawson in the car, in the main cars, who'd you put in the juniors? The fuck?
Like a couple of people out lower formula.
You know what I mean? RB and Red Bull are pretty much screwed. But
then again, I thought that about Merck, and they pulled Kimi Antonelli out of the woodwork.
Yeah, but Antonelli's not had the best track record right now.
Pun intended.
He has in F2, but when he's been in that F1 car, even he said himself he wasn't ready, but we'll see. Time is going to tell with that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, would Max Verstappen go to Merck? I doubt that. I highly doubt that. Who knows? But I doubt it. Because I reckon...
back to this podcast in about 3 years' time when you just won a championship with Merck.
Because I reckon Yoss and Toto would come to loggerheads, and I think Toto would win every sodding time. How many
Don't know what you mean.
How many pairs of Bose headphones has Toto destroyed?
We always go back to the headphones, don't we?
Because it's most of the thing we've seen get destroyed by him. Apart from when we've seen K-Mag destroy a door for when he was at Haas. But yeah, so something that I should have been doing every time, and I'm completely forgetful. Times for Brazil under UK time. Obviously, check where you are. Practice 1, 2:30. Sprint quali, 6:30 on the same day, on the 1st of November. 2nd of November, sprint at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 2nd of November, qualifying at 6, and the race is on the 3rd at 5. A little bit of an earlier race.
A little bit earlier, but still not. So was it 5 o'clock?
5 p.m.
Oh, that's good then, 'cause I'm busy at 8 o'clock. I'll be able to get it watched beforehand.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock.
That's not so bad.
And obviously, I'll then update the race weekend for. Oh, God. What's the next race after? Never mind.
Is it Vegas, the next one?
Yep.
Which is my birthday weekend.
Yeah, but dude, that's
5 a.m.
that
isn't it?
was 6. It's a 6-y. 6 o'clock for qualifying, 6 o'clock for the race, and like 2:30 in the morning for practice 1, 6 o'clock for practice 2,
Jesus.
2:30 for practice 3. I mean, I'll be able to watch the practice sessions, except practice 2, of course, unless I stay up and I don't know. I'd plan that one when I get to that one. But yep, tangent time, and don't want to go off on a tangent. So obviously, thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you to David for joining.
Thank you as always. Thank you for having me.
And don't forget, it'll be out at 3 p.m. on Wednesday, and we shall see you after Brazil. And hopefully by that time, the Fantasy League will be working, and we will show you
We'll welcome Ryan in as the new leader.
We will show you the results of this one, of Mexico first, and then we will go into Brazil. So
yeah.
So until next time.
Later, folks.
Goodbye for now.